cigarettes and how they've adapted and changed over the last century or so. So to begin talking about cigarettes, I want to talk about how they're made. And they grow the tobacco and they hang it in well-ventilated barns, and they let it dry for 5 days, and once it's dried, they stick it into either rag fibers, which is non-wood plants, or like plant fibers, which is like flax or hemp, or they'll use wood chips and thin it out so where they're able to roll the paper. So if it depends on what cigarette you get. Some of them will use tobacco that were scraps. So they would use them from the plant stems, or they would find some on the floor and they would just sweep it up and put it in a cigarette. So automatically you can tell cigarettes aren't good for you. And some of them have filtered paper, which means some people, when they smoke, let's say their child will not be affected by secondhand smoke or get the high as the person smoking the cigarette does. But there are other cigarettes that you could get a contact high from being around the smoke too much. And to start off about the changes, I want to go back all the way to 1920s to talk about the laws and the regulations. So the law for cigarettes were you weren't allowed to buy cigarettes until you were 18. But nobody ever really followed that law because there were multiple children would go buy cigarettes for their parents, or they would go for the lady next door, and nobody would really seem to mind. And 1920s through 1953, 47% of Americans were smoking, 53% of them were male, and 36% of them females, and almost half of every physician in the United States was smoking. In 1950s or so, it was very popular to smoke. You had famous actresses and actors like Audrey Hepburn, James Dean, and even our president was given a free pack of cigarettes while he was in office. And everybody thought it was cool. Nobody knew the safety that you had to, nobody knew that you had to be safe when smoking cigarettes. So laws were you could smoke anywhere you would want to. You were allowed to smoke in parks, at the office, and during doctor's visits, at your children's school, on buses, trains, planes, you name it, you could smoke there. There are only few amount of places that prohibited smoking. And it wasn't till late 1980s, early 1990s did they discover that most of the people that grew up during that time were increasing in lung cancer or COPD, osteoporosis, and multiple medical diagnoses like that. So they became more strict with where you were allowed to smoke. And jumping to here we are now, you are not allowed to smoke in your car if you have a child 12 years old or younger. You are not allowed to smoke anywhere that children could be present, which means a public park that has a playground near it, schools, doctors' offices, workplaces, and restaurants. Restaurant owners would actually get fined $5,000 if there's anybody caught smoking inside the restaurant. And because of those laws, the rate of lung cancer has increased, but it's still regularly there. And people have made this thing called e-cigarettes to steer people away from smoking because smoking caused so bad of lung cancer. And since these e-cigarettes are flavored such as mango or bubble gum or even mint and menthol, 18-year-olds have become addicted to those, which in turn causes them to get COPD, which is a disease of chronic bronchitis, and they have difficulty breathing when doing the simplest things, such as walking up a flight of stairs or exercising. And seeing this in 18-year-olds not even being able to do what they're supposed to, normal 18-year-old lives because of these things, they have restricted the law to where you are now only allowed to smoke